Hello, my name is Ross LRB and welcome back to Things That Fall Out of My Head. We're going to be having a look today at some of the other bits and pieces I've been working on recently for the costume, cosplay, video gamey things. There is another Corvo mask update coming. It's just progress has been a little bit slower than I would have liked on it, and there's a few more bits I want to get done before I do an update on that one for you. So I thought today we would have a look at some of the Hidden Blade Assassin's Creed kind of stuff that I've been doing in the past. I did mention in the thank you for 50 subscribers video that I'd be attempting the Creatures Rags cosplay from Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which is now quite foolhardy, it turns out. But there will be another video on that coming soon. I'm just waiting for a few more bits to turn up, and with it being Christmas, New Year, you know, it's never the easiest thing to get things ordered. So I thought I would just show you a couple of Hidden Blade gauntlets that I've put together for different Comic-Cons in the past. The first one, which is here, was before the game came out. I think the event was the weekend that it was released, so I didn't have too much to go on, and the second one over here was completed with a lot more in-game reference after I've been playing it for a little while. So this one I put together just as kind of a placeholder, just to use for that one event, and because I didn't know what other options were going to be available in the game, I thought, hey, screw it, let's do a Japanese-inspired one, because there seemed to be so much speculation about the possibility of there being a Japanese game in the future that I thought, hey, let's jump on the bandwagon and do one. So this was quite a simple project, as it turned out. There's no you know, grappling hook that you've got on this one. There's no dart launchers or guns or anything. It was just kind of to give that sort of samurai kind of look. So just as a quick overview, these plates here, there's quite a few of them around it. These were all just made from I think it was 2 layers, yeah, maybe 2 layers of Sintra plasticard, which were cut out and then just gently sort of bent into shape. You can maybe see from, if I zoom in there, okay, they were just sort of gently bent into shape so that they've got a little bit of form to them, so they're not laying completely flat. Probably doesn't show up that well with black on black. There we go. So we've got this padded base material here, with bias binding all around the edging, which was painfully hand sewn. And then these plates themselves, these were based on templates from what's the website called, senjokudaimyo.com, I believe it is. It was or it still is, an excellent resource for anything Oriental armour based. It was run by a guy called Anthony Bryant, who sadly is no longer with us, but his website is still being maintained by you know, people who were as enthusiastic about it as he is. So these were just downloaded as paper patterns, because I wanted to get something kind of vaguely authentic. So, you know, the hand plates, the thumb plates here are all sort of correct design. These plates at the top here were just added on to give a little bit more detail. So all of these little hand stitching holes were all individually drilled so it could be sewn down. I did originally plan to have more characters on here, but I just ran out of time. So these were just gloss sprayed black. These were just painted on by hand, a couple of layers of gold paint. But on the other side, I'll put it the right way around, we have the 3D printed Hidden Blade. Now I know this isn't the Syndicate one, this is the Connor Assassin's Creed 3 blade, and this is a 3D printed kit, as all of my Hidden Blades are, from Amun-Ra Creations. You can find him on Facebook, he's on Etsy. I got these from shapeways.com, which is a 3D printing service. You basically go online, order the kit that you want, and they print it and send it out to you. So this is not something that I've made. I painted it, I assembled it, but I didn't put it together. So just to give you an idea on how that works, it just sort of extends out there. This then locks in place. With the Connor kit, you have the ability to rotate the dagger, and of course that comes off as well, which I won't do now because it's quite complicated to get back on again. But yeah, I just recently put that hidden blade together at the time of making this, so I thought, hey, why not? And it's just attached by being sewn on. This itself is just hook and eye opening, so that you can put your hand into it, and you've got these little thumb loops here and here, so that this sticks to your hand and it will move with your hand. So not an overly complicated design. I mean, the fabric itself was pre-quilted. I didn't have to make any of this, so it really was just figuring out the pattern, making the hard parts, and then just adding this edging to it. So yeah, that was my Syndicate Hidden Blade Gauntlet before the game released. And then afterwards, being the glutton for punishment that I am, I moved on to this guy. Now, this is a lot more substantial, as you can see, than the other one. This one kind of holds its own shape, but there's a lot more to this. This took a lot longer to do. I'll start from the inside and work out. So, in here, we've got this grey piece here, which is an inner glove, if you like. This I patterned over my arm when I was wearing the coat that I was going to wear with it, and basically just wrapped plastic bags around my arm, taped them down, and then used a marker to sort of mark in where I wanted all these different. You probably can't see it at the moment, but this is made from 3 separate pieces. You might just be able to see the seam in here, and there's a seam either side on the top here. So that was just made in 3 pieces. The black outer part, which is kind of a faux suede kind of feel to it, that was again patterned out over the inner layer, and this I think had 4 parts to it. There's a seam underneath that hidden blade, and then there's one down each side here just to get it to fit over properly. This one was actually based on, I believe it's called just the Assassin Gauntlet in Syndicate, don't quote me on that. But that's where I got the shape for this plate from. It's a little bit longer on here than it should be in game. I think it should be about there. It's missing the hidden gun dart thing that goes on the top here, but I just ran out of time to make that before I had to use this thing. And then just another little Sintra plate there, which has just been sewn in. Oh, yeah, that one also just made up of Sintra. There's a base layer here, which is 2 or 3 layers, and then these extra parts on top here. So that's actually solid plastic through its whole thickness. It's about 5mm thick, and these rivets were just leather working rivets that I drilled in here, and then on the back of this black piece there are holes for the other end of the rivet to attach. They weren't hammered into place because that would split all of this, so I just used some contact adhesive and glued them in place, and it's, you know, it's pretty sturdy. Moving around, we've got again, this is not exactly in game, this is just something that I sort of sculpted up, trying to think about what this should look like, as like a kind of brass knuckles but silver knuckles. And then again, that was attached using some stitching at the back here. These fake leather straps with some rivets in them just to add a little bit more detail. And again, the edge stitching all the way around here, this was all hand stitched. These parts themselves, they look a lot more substantial than the other guy we just looked at, because these are quite heavily padded. These black parts here, I think, are a few layers of denim with a plain black lining, and then the faux suede over the top. And then all of that was bias bound by hand, same as on the underneath part here. And they were just kind of stitched together in little key points at the backs here. This is still all able to move. I'll show you it on later, but the idea is this part is quite tight to your hand, so you can move it, and this part sort of stays where it is. So, moving on to the underside, there we go, the business end of it. Here we have another 3D printed Hidden Blade kit from Amon-Ra Creations. This one is based, I believe, on Ezio's from AC2. Again, it's not a Syndicate kit, but I really liked it. I had it painted anyway, so I thought, why not use it? And again, it's just There we go. It's just held in place with little plastic locks here and some elastic bands, but it locks out, and it's all plastic, by the way. This is, you know, it's not going to hurt anyone. So there we go, and there's the ring again to open and close this. But this was just painted up using a mixture of Games Workshop metallics and Painter's Touch antique brass, which is a really nice gold colour. And then putting this onto the glove, I thought, well, I've got to have this, I've got to have the rope launcher on there as well, so I built a little kind of mounting plate here, which has these little sewing tabs, so you can actually attach it to this. All of this was again just made out of layered up Sintra plasticard, so at the end here I think it gets up to around 10 layers thick, which are just glued one on top of the other and then smoothed out by hand with sandpaper, and it took an absolute age, but hey, you know, it looks okay now when it's on there. These little leather straps don't do anything, they're just a little bit more detail. And then the bit that I'm really proud of is the rope launcher. Now this was, it attaches to this same little rig that the Hidden Blade does, but this was kind of like a little scavenged together piece that I put together. It's made from a few various odds and ends. You've got like a couple of leftover bits here from a lightsaber build I was doing. I think that's a Covertech wheel and a little thumb screw from a lightsaber. This and this tubes they're the inside of cotton reels, like the thin long ones. This part back here is actually the inside of some Scotch tape, which I covered over with some plasticard and smoothed down. You've got some little thumb screws and little detaily bits in here. The wire itself is actually electrical wire, just wound round and round a little cylinder I put in there. And the frame itself, this part that holds it all together, and this arm here are again just layered Sintra, just layered up in individual parts and assembled together, and then just all sanded down. I tried a little bit of verdigris weathering on here, but I did get better at this, and I'll be doing a tutorial on how to do that properly. Dart itself, this is fixed in here, this doesn't move or come out just because I didn't want to lose the bloody thing. This is I think it was a biro that I used, or like a disposable ballpoint, with these little fangly bits on here, which were again Sintra, and they were glued on and then smoothed over with Milliput Superfine, which I use for everything. But there we go. It's quite a robust piece for something that's made like 90% out of fabric. It's quite, you know, it holds its own weight. It's yeah, I'm quite pleased with it. But again, this was kind of my not a placeholder, but it was, I will use this until I was able to better design something. So not to say that, you know, this won't be used again. It's a good looking thing. Yeah, but moving on from that, I thought, well, if I'm going to be trying to do the cosplay for the creature's rags, I should probably do myself a new Hidden Blade gauntlet. So there is another 3D Hidden Blade on its way. That should be arriving in the next few days. So what I've just started to do is pattern out the new gauntlet, and this is going to be based on, it's called the Devil's Handshake. So it's going to be black and red with some silver and brass details across it. And really all I did with this one was started out with the centre panel, which is here, and really just put my arm down on a piece of paper and thought, right, this is where my knuckles have got to come to, that's where my wrist is, and that's where it's going to end. And the mistake I made with this one was I made it a little bit too long, so when you bend your arm, this part at the back here does tend to crease up a little bit, and it can get in the way when you're trying to move around. So I decided to make this one a little bit shorter. As you can see, it's overall a little bit shorter than that one, but it's going to come further down onto your hand. So this part here will actually end sort of here, maybe a little bit further down. So I started out with that one, just made it kind of the width that I sort of guessed at. I did adjust it a little bit, and then the rest of it was basically made up of this part. Again, patterning it on my arm itself, so as you may or may not be able to see on here, but I started out with a piece this sort of size and this size for the two halves of my arm. And when I taped it all together and tried it on, I realised I was going to need more space here. There was an extra dart I needed to put in there. There's some extra little adjustments at the sides here, and this needed to be filled in. So really, it's just a case of, you know, you can see on the inside there how many revisions it had with all these little bits of paper here. But that was the curved underside that would sit underneath that. So once I've done that, I moved on to this, which is kind of the last working pattern that's going to be on there. So this U-shaped section here is just this part. Yeah, get off. It's this part here, but just redrawn, so it's just one part. The top piece really didn't change that much. That's just going to be as is. But then these little collar pieces down here, these I originally was trying to include into this part, but to get the shaping of it and to get it to flare like this, I didn't want a centre seam down here, so I had to make those separately. And if I can just jam my hand through this, there we go. You'll see that when your hand's back, these will lay flat for the hidden blades, and then when you relax it, they'll sit out like that, just to give it a little bit more shape. And this will finish somewhere around your knuckles. So there we go. I mean, this is quite big on my arm, but it's one thing I noticed when making the other one, that if it's too tight, you can have trouble sort of rotating your hand with it on. It's not so much of a problem with that one, as I'll show you in a minute, but with these kind of bigger, heavier ones, if you can't rotate your hands properly, it does get a bit uncomfortable. So that's where I am with that one. I will be doing a bit more of a vlog blog kind of thing on this one as I do more on there. Just starting to detail out some of the embroidery pieces and the rivets that are going to go on there, but more on that as I go. So yeah, as I say, just wanted to do a little bit of an update on these, where I am with this. There will be a video coming showing the progress on the coat for the creature's rags. There's a lot of faux leather involved in that, lots and lots of hand stitching, which is taking its time. But yeah, so there will be another Corvo video coming soon as I'm able to get some sanding done on that. But yeah, so I just thought I'd give you guys a bit of an update, and I will just quickly try the hidden gauntlet on, just so you can see how that works. There we go. So that just kind of sits over your knuckles there, and because of this inner part, I'm able to sort of move my hands. The little ring here just slips onto your finger so you can activate the hidden blade. But yeah, so there we are. So thank you guys again for watching. Let me know if there's anything you want me to cover in other videos, if there's any particular thing on here or anything else that I'm making that you want to know a little bit more about. Hope you're enjoying the cosplay videos, and we'll see you next time. Thanks very much. Oh, and don't forget, leave us a like, leave us a comment, and why not even subscribe, just to let us know that you're enjoying this and that I'm going along the right lines. All right, cheers guys, see you next time.
I need to remember what side I am.
You're the girl. How's that? Oh, nice. Oh. That. I just heard. That is an awesome move.